Well, when it comes time to investing your money, it's always helpful to find out how the wealthiest families in America are doing it. We'll find out next on the Jeff Crilley Show with one of the leading national experts. That's just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, I'm going to take you back to those dark days of March where the stock market was just plummeting and America was shutting down because of the pandemic. Many Americans were freaking out. It's always helpful to find out how the wealthiest families were handling things. So let's talk about that today with DJ Van Keuren. He is with Evergreen Property Partners. Thank you for coming on the show, DJ.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So I hate to go back to March because it's a memory I think we'd all like to erase. What were the families that you were working with? How were they handling it?
Well, it was not only just the families that I work with, but it was also just families in general. So the first thing that they did is actually moved to, they looked at their equity portfolio and they were wondering, how can we take advantage of what's happening within the market? And of course, we saw that downturn, so they were very, wanting to stay on top of that. So a lot of families had sold to take the gains off the table, and then they were also reinvesting back to take advantage of the purchasing of some equities, which was much lower, but they still liked the companies. So that was where the focus was with the families. They were holding on tight to the real estate investments, the other investments, taking a look at what was happening, reanalyzing them, and actually preparing for distressed opportunities.
Well, I know they're in good hands when they're working with you, and you are passionate about real estate. In fact, you're the guy that the media turns to when they want advice. We've got a little video that we'd like to show right now. I saw your Denver background, and it reminded me, you guys are doing something with the University of Denver that I'd like to get into. Tell everybody the news.
Yeah, so we're actually about to launch at the end of this month, and we're going to have some press releases go out, et cetera. Is actually the Institute for Family Office Real Estate, and it's going to be at the University of Denver's Business School and the Burns School of Real Estate and Construction Management. It's going to be similar to the executive education programs that you see around the country, from Wharton, from Harvard, from University of Chicago, Stanford. However, this is the only program that's strictly going to focus on family office and real estate. And although there's going to be opportunities to learn about how you identify, and build your portfolio as a family, or how you understand what's happening in market cycles, we're also going to be focused on specific information that deals with families. For example, how do you transfer a real estate company from one generation to the next generation? How do you transfer the real estate assets from one to the next? If the patriarch dies and all of a sudden there's infighting amongst the family members, and one family wants to have keep the properties, one wants cash, another one wants to buy different properties. These are all issues along with tax and other structural issues that deal just with wealthy families. And so we're going to have that focus, and professors coming in from Harvard and Wharton, also from NYU, University of Chicago, and then we'll have quite a number of prominent families actually that are part of the board, and looking to have the largest family office real estate conference in the country, on an annual basis.
Wow, congratulations. It sounds like a wonderful event. We want to talk about the Forbes article that you just authored. We're going to put it up on the screen so people can see it, how family offices and real estate investments can withstand the pandemic. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so, it really depends on a couple of things of when families are, especially during COVID, there's a lot of opportunities to invest within the industry based upon what's been happening, right? What happened too with families, which is interesting, is back in recession, a lot of families were holding tight. They were worried about investing. And so they were waiting until the market started coming back up. And that's when they started to invest. This time it's different. They remember, it's still fresh in their mind of the opportunities that they lost. So a lot of families have actually, going into a cash position, started to take advantage of some of the distress in the market. In fact, we're working directly with the Marriott family on buying distressed properties. And so by looking for those opportunities, partnering with various operators that understand what they're doing is extremely important. And, the way that you can really withstand the pandemic or recession per se is the amount of due diligence that you do on the front side. First and foremost, with the operator that you're investing with, if you are investing with an operator, to make sure that they have experience, they've maybe been through some of the recessions. And then the deal is secondary. And that's where you need to dive into what's happened in the market, other opportunities to continue to invest. And family offices has patient capital. They don't have to sell. And that's one of the biggest benefits that family offices have with their real estate investing, is that they can hold on and they can just sit tight with where they're at. If they invested into a great market, I'm here in Denver, all the fundamentals are remaining the same. People are moving here. In fact, more people are probably moving here because of the pandemic, cost of living, quality of life, the jobs that are still going to be made available. And by just holding tight, families can take advantage and still benefit from the investments that they made.
And we should point out, DJ, that this recession is unlike any other recession. The underlying foundation of the country is just fine. Most of the pain that we felt is from government-mandated shutdowns, but the underlying economy is certainly robust, is it not?
Yeah, it's 100%, and I wouldn't even necessarily. I mean, this is one of the it's like a war. It's like something that you never expected, right? And so it's not following the fundamental economic components that you typically would have in a recession. And in fact, you can go back 250 years to see the cycles in the US, Australia, and the UK. They usually run in 18.5-year cycles, which means that we should have seen a recession coming around 2027, 2028. However, we've had this put into the mix, and yes, the fundamentals are remaining the same. However, what we do have is we've got some distress coming around the country here pretty soon, especially in multifamily and workforce housing, because with all the stimulus that's come in from the government, there's been a lot of artificially inflated results that's happening, right? People haven't been missing the rent payments necessarily. Well, that's because they're getting money from the government. So what I do think is going to happen is we're going to see some opportunities on multifamily probably in the next 3 to 6 months, because they usually lag within a 9-month period thereafter. But once again, like you said, the fundamentals are still the same. Denver is continuing to grow. There's a lot of sprawl that's available, and that's the same in a lot of other markets. So once we get the vaccine, hopefully things will get back to normal and we can just continue on with where we were.
Yes, we've only got about a minute and a half left in the segment, but I want to show your book to the audience, because you literally wrote the book, Real Estate Investing for Family Offices. Tell us about the book.
So, one of the things that people don't understand is that you've got families that are worth hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars, but they spent their whole life in, let's say, chemicals, where they built their business, or tires, or technology. You ask them about something in their industry and they're going to understand that inside and out, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they understand real estate, private equity, venture capital, equities, right? And then when you look at people that spend their whole life just in real estate, for example, it may not just be real estate as a whole. It could be medical office buildings, and then you've also got medical office buildings and size-wise, etc. So the book was really about the fundamentals of what to look for in real estate investments. That includes understanding cap rates, understanding NOIs, understanding a lot of the fundamentals when you're looking at real estate opportunities. I'm in the middle of writing the second book right now, which is actually more of how family offices invest in real estate, how they should look at the investments, what are other families doing, what are things that you need to be aware of. So it goes to another level instead of just the fundamentals of real estate investing.
DJ Van Keuren, unfortunately we're out of time. You've been an amazing guest. We're going to have you back again soon. Let's go ahead and put the website up so people can get in touch. It's evergreenpropertypartners.com. DJ Van Keuren, thank you so much for being a guest.
Thanks for having me on the show.
You bet. And that's it for now. We'll see you next time.